first to arrive at the Manila Hotel this morning for the filing of certificates of candidacy was Agri Party-list Representative Wilbert Lee. He is gunning for a seat in the Senate this time, and he is live with us here in the studio this evening. Good evening, Congressman Lee.
Good evening.
Congratulations on becoming the very first to file your COC. Now you've become...
Sana number one na lang nga talaga. Not only the first to file.
At least first ka pa rin, first to file, and your name is out there. Tell us why you're gunning for the Senate this time. You've only had one term in the House, right?
Yeah. I believe that I can do more in the Senate. No? Mas marami akong magagawa doon. Don't need to get the consensus of so many people. No? Like in the Senate, you just need to, stock to 12. No? Maybe 12, 12 lang kayo. Pag nag-okay yun, mas mabilis na mapagawa. Like in the lower house, no, you need to talk to at least 250 plus congressman, no, for your bill to be approved or to be passed. No? So, and then once it passed in the lower house, once it gets to the Senate, pag hindi doon okay, may ipit din doon. No? So, parang ganun nangyari. In other way around, once it's approved in the Senate, and then it goes to the lower house, normally it's just adopted. No? The Senate version is just adopted in the lower house. So it's easier actually.
What have you learned in your first term in Congress?
What have I learned? Well, there are so many problems, so many things that can be solved by, simple lang, yung mga simple solution. No?
Katulad po ng?
Parang mahirap sabihin. Parang yung pinaglalaban namin, no? Pinaglalaban ko. No? I think you all have seen the Mike Scaffold, no? the other day. No? It all started from yung pinaglalaban natin, yung healthcare, health benefits. No? There are so many, there's so much money in PhilHealth that is invested in banks, no? Time deposit, treasury bills, and everything. And yet, every day, every minute, every hour, we can see, ordinary people, ordinary nating kababayan namamatay minuto because they're afraid na dalhin sila sa hospital because walang pambayad sa hospital. And yet, this 504 billion na pera ng PhilHealth invested in different banks, these are supposed to be used for the health benefits of the people. So, yung ganitong nangyayari, why is these things happening? No?
So we assume you're questioning the excess funds of the PhilHealth.
It's not actually, I don't want to call it excess fund because I want to call it excess fund if all the benefits have already been answered and covered. No? The benefits, the case rates, they have not been adjusted for the last 12 years. No? What does it mean? 12 years ago, if one room would cost you 1,000 pesos and then PhilHealth would be paying, or yung binabawas ng PhilHealth is 300 pesos, that room now would cost you 2,000 now, and PhilHealth would still shoulder yung 300 or 400 now. So, tumaas na yung presyo ng room, pero yung binabawas ng PhilHealth, ganun pa rin. Okay. So, in the last 12 years, na-adjust only recently, only now. When we started fighting for this, for the increase in benefits, naging successful kami, additional of 30%. No? But sobrang liit pa rin yan. Okay? So, gusto ko mangyari, another 50% increase, no? Which naging successful tayo because finally, they committed, the DOH Secretary and the PhilHealth President, pumirma sila sa akin, and this coming November, additional of another 50% increase. No? Plus all the diagnostic scans, MRI, PET scan, CT scan, covered na rin siya. Alam natin, these are very expensive tests. No?
Right.
No? And very few public hospitals ang meron pong mga ganitong makina. No?
I mean, that's what PhilHealth says,
Yes.
that they are... That's part of the plan naman talaga to increase the membership benefits. But,
Yeah, but-
is that going to be your main platform, health and medical services? 'Cause you're...
My main concern are affordable food, murang pagkain. Of course, itong sinabi ko, healthcare, Dapat free medicines, free. Under our universal healthcare law, it is the right, karapatan ng bawat isang Pilipino na magkaroon ng libreng gamot at libreng pagpapagamot. No? That's why we have what we call the zero billing or the no balance billing. But hindi po nangyayari ito. No? Hindi nangyayari, hindi na-implement. No? And of course, the last is tiyak na trabaho and sapat na kita. No? Yun po, that three basic, yun po yung gagawin natin sa Senado. Okay. We have started this in Congress, ipagpapatuloy natin sa Senado.
Okay, Congressman, aside from being the first to file the COC, today your name actually made the headlines back in July for being the top spender when it comes to Facebook advertisements.
Yeah.
I know a PCIJ report stated that you spent about 2.5 million pesos, and some netizens expressed na baka nangangampanya ka na daw po a year even before the midterm elections. So what's the rationale behind spending this extravagant amount of money on Facebook posts?
And where did you spend it on? Which
Where
kinds
did
of ads?
Where did I spend it? Well, if you will look at all yung mga posts namin sa Facebook now, and even yung mga ads namin sa billboards now, and in tarpaulins and everything, if you look at it, these are all addressed to yung para mapalapit, no? Because yung services that I'm really espousing, yung pinaglalaban natin, yung medical assistance, no? So, every day doon sa opisina namin, we receive about 5,000 messages asking for medical assistance. And when I go around the country, all over the Philippines, ito yung primary concern, primary fear, pangunahing pangamba, pangunahing takot nila, pagkakasakit. Saan sila tatakbo pag nagkakasakit? Where do I go? Sino tatawagan ko? No? So, if you look at all this, these are all targeted to, para malaman ng tao, ito yung pwede niyong tawagan na number. Dito kayo pwede mag-contact sa amin. No? So, ganun ang nangyari. No? So,
But Kong, I mean, you spend all this money, but I'm sorry to be the one to point this out, but you're still not even within the top 20 of the senatorial surveys. Number one, how much more money are you going to throw at it? And number two, my follow-up question to your first answer is, sabi mo, it's easier in the Senate because you just need consensus of a few people, but it's much harder to get in.
yeah, of course.
Right?
It's
So
a
what's going to be your strategy?
Uphill,
Are you running as an independent?
No, I joined Action Democratico
Okay.
Of the late Senator Raul Roco. No? So we have the same values, the same advocacy with the party. That's why I joined Action Democratico. Plus the fact that he's also a fellow Bicolano, no? and one of those iniidolo po natin na public servant. No? To your question, how much more, hindi ko rin alam. Marami nagsasabi, nababaliw daw ako. Mas mabuti na sigurong baliw na may gustong gawin, no? Rather than...
You mean sino nagsasabi ko? Your wife, your family?
My family. No.
But your
my family is fully supporting me. No?
So the
Lahat
people,
sila, no?
other people
Sabi
around.
na, yung family ko, sinasabi, kumukuha ka ng pamukpok sa ulo. Eh sabi ko, siguro, kailangan nating lahat ng pamukpok sa ulo para hindi tayo maging manhid. No? Para lagi tayong gising sa mga nangyayari, nararamdamang paghihirap ng ating kababayan.
But prior to you representing Agri Party-list, it was your wife who represented it for 3 consecutive terms.
For 2.
For 2? Is she going to run in your stead to represent the party?
Well, actually, that's why the party list did not file today, no? Because we are still, the party is still talking. No? We're still waiting for some leaders from the provinces to come over to Manila and pag-uusapan po namin. No?
Do you feel you had done enough already in the agricultural sector? Because papalit po kayo ng plataforma from agriculture to health.
It's a tough question. No? Hindi mo siguro masasabi na you have done enough because there are lots of problem. No? Ang importante, we're in the right direction. We have started it. No? The government have started it in the right direction and we're just following it. Nasimulan ko rin, nasimulan din natin. So it's a maraming complex problem po dyan. Malaking hamon po talaga yung agriculture po. But sinisimulan po natin yan.
When you were deciding on your next step, staying for another term in the lower house was not a consideration? You really didn't, you were done with the lower house? You wanted the Senate na talaga? Or even, let's say, local mayoralty?
Siguro if I'm here for personal interest or whatever, then I would say that I would consider running for another term in the lower house. No? Because based on the surveys, yung Agri is sure na magkakaroon ng isang seat
Yes.
pa. No?
Right.
Based
As a
on
party list, yes.
on the survey. No? So, if I'm there na for, ayokong banggitin kung anong other purpose, siguro gano'n. No? Pero hindi gano'n. No? Talagang para sa akin, gusto ko talaga yung puso ko talaga, gusto ko tumulong.
Well, speaking of, we know that public service is a sacrifice.
It's a sacrifice.
And your family built your fortune on a business empire, the LKY Group.
Yeah.
What happens now? Do you divest from these businesses?
I have divested already actually since the day one that na pumasok ako, no, nag-divest na ako. Sa management naman and everything, we have professional managers, but of course, yung kids ko, yun ang mahala. The story is when I decided to run and to enter politics, no, yung mga anak ko nagsabi sa akin, they only have 2 conditions actually. No? Sabi niya, I don't know if I can say this on national television. Sabi niya, huwag ka lang maging corrupt, Dad. That's the first. Sabi ko, okay. Then sabi ng mga anak ko, I know what you're thinking. Sabi niya na, sige, sabi ko, paano yung gagastusin natin? Sabi niya, Dad, sabi ng daughter ko, my second daughter especially, no? Sabi niya, Dad, pagdating ng araw, kailangan natin isang banga lang at isang maliit na butas. No? Hindi naman natin madadala yan. No? Parang gano'n. No?
What was the second condition ko?
That's the second.
That's the second condition.
Hindi natin madadala yan, sabi niya. Hindi natin madadala. Isang banga lang yung kailangan natin. Meaning to say, pag dumating yung oras mo, cremate ka na, isang banga lang kailangan mo. No? Bakit mo kailangan ng... I think yun. No? And then...
Go ahead.
Sorry.
Forgive me, but are you deemed resigned the moment that you start campaigning as a
I
party
really
list
don't know
nominee?
because I have received yesterday from, there are parang may bagong circular from the COMELEC, no, na hindi ko alam. But ako naman, okay ako. If I'm deemed resigned, then okay naman ako. No? Wala akong issue about that.
Okay, so healthcare, agriculture, and jobs. That's going to be your platform.
Jobs, agriculture, affordable food, because I always believe that para bumaba yung ating pong pagkain to lower our inflation, the correct way is to boost our production, our local production.
Pero matagal-tagal
That's
po
a
na
very
solusyon yun.
that's a bigger conversation, but we're gonna have to
but
leave that there.
Sa akin kasi, food security is a national security issue.
It is. President Marcos himself has said that.
If it's a national security issue, then automatically we should appropriate funds for it every year. We should prioritize it.
We are going to have to leave that there for tonight. Thanks
Thank
so
you.
much for being with us.
Thank you so much.
Agri Party-list Representative, Congressman Wilbert Lee, gunning for a seat in the Senate, this time under Action Democratico.